Hi, I'm attorney Renee Osipov with Chelle Law, and we assist parents, guardians, and students who may be having issues surrounding 504 plans and federally mandated accommodations. In this video, I'm discussing, do universities and colleges use 504 plans? So the short answer is, well, actually, there's not a short answer. So first of all, 504 plans, the actual title of it, is not typically used in college and universities. So if you currently have one and you're in secondary education and then that student goes on to college, their 504 plan and those accommodations will not just sort of transfer over. However, it's very helpful to have a 504 plan with those accommodations to know what's really working for you within the educational environment, especially if it's taking exams or instruction. Now, that doesn't mean to say that a college student is without protection, because that's absolutely not true. At the college level, though, or university, typically they'll have many different names to these accommodation plans. But if a student does have a disability that's substantially impacting them and their ability to learn, they are federally mandated to provide accommodations. So it is basically like a 504 plan. They're just going to have different names. And of course, a university setting is much different than going to one location for all your educational services that you have during elementary and secondary education. So yes, you can absolutely have accommodations in the university setting and college setting. I don't know what the title of that will be. It's not going to be called a 504 plan. Like I said, you are going to get accommodations. If you have a 504 plan in the past, that's important to provide that to the university. That's a really good starting point for them. Accommodations at the university level are going to be very similar to the ones that you had in elementary or secondary. So again, if there's a physical disability, potentially where you sit in the classroom, if you need some special seating, like a typical desk isn't going to work for you. If the student has a wheelchair and needs a clear path in and out of the room, if you have a service dog, they need room to sit next to you, that kind of thing. Now, you're not going to have accommodations for pull-outs for different types of therapy like OT or PT, because the way college and universities are set up, you can schedule your classes. And so you can, if you are in need of those types of therapies, that can happen throughout the day and you have more flexibility with your schedule. So that accommodation is probably not likely to be written into your accommodation plan. However, if you do need any specific tools, so maybe laptop, special keyboard, sensory tools, let's see, I'm trying to think of other ones that I've seen in the past. Recording devices, that's a big one in the university setting. A lot of professors do not want to be recorded, but if you have some type of processing, maybe audio processing disorder, you are able to record the class. Also visually too as well. It just kind of depends on, like I said, that every university is different, but if these are your needs, you want to make sure that you're speaking up at the very beginning to get a plan in place. Another one that's probably one of the most common and popular ones is that, now this would be, it could be for physical, but it also could be for mental impairment, is having a note taker in the class. Someone in the class will take written notes, type them up, and then send them to you so that you can work on focusing or maybe processing what the professor is saying while writing notes is difficult for you. So someone could do that for you. I would say that's probably the most popular accommodation, is having a note taker or being able to record the professor's lectures. Also, the really important ones are around exams. So you can have in your accommodation plan that you are able to get more time when you're taking exams, or you may be able to take them in a secluded area. It's rare that the exams will be read to you or that you'll have a type of aide or a person sitting in with you at the university level, but it's not impossible. You would just have to show that that would be, a needed accommodation in order for you to have a free and appropriate education. So again, just to kind of summarize, something called a 504 plan doesn't really exist in the college or university setting. However, federal law protects discrimination from people with disabilities in the college and university setting. So therefore, the university or college has to provide accommodations. There's just no mandated title for what the form looks like. So again, if you already have a 504 plan or an IEP, it's important to be proactive when you get into the university setting, that you can get those accommodations in place early so that you have the best, grades and outcome possible. And it's just a smooth transition. I will also say, back to accommodations, if there's any type of depression or anxiety, these things written into a university or college accommodations look maybe a little bit different. However, again, I always recommend that there's some sort of indication to the professor without having to be called out or singled out. Maybe like a signal, some type of note, something like that, indicating that you need to leave the classroom. Maybe you feel like an anxiety attack is pending, or you would like to not be called on. Sometimes professors use things called the Socratic method, so they call on students at any time and you have to be ready. If you have social anxiety, this would not be something that it would be difficult for you, and you could be substantially impaired due to that. So you would want accommodations that you wouldn't be just randomly called on. Also, if you have to give oral reports, this is something also that you can have an accommodation written out for, that either you can have yours pre-recorded, or when you're going to give this, or you could have extra sort of written aids to help you in case, any type of anxiety would prohibit you from giving that type of presentation. So these are just the basics. But again, just to remember, it's not going to be called a 504 plan accommodations in the university or college setting. It will likely just be called some type of accommodation plan. However, there are federal mandates that protect individuals from discrimination who have disabilities, and very similar accommodations in the 504 plan that you had in the elementary or secondary